Good morning, guys. Welcome. Well, I guess it could be morning or afternoon, or welcome to episode 19 of the You Are Beautiful podcast. Shout out to Jordan. Jordan, I miss you. You're awesome. You started this podcast for me. We miss you. You'll be back soon. Jordan hasn't left. She's still here. She thinks I'm ugly, so she's taking a break. But this is going to be a great episode because it's going to be on my favorite topic, me. Why am I doing this? Just to give you an idea, dude. You're seeing Grandmaster Gaines sitting over here, shredded, tatted face. Nobody to call a boss because I am my own boss, and my boss is an asshole. Makes me work all the time. So, give you an idea of how long it took me to figure this fitness thing out. Because you guys are thinking about getting started or have already gotten started or are probably one of my clients watching this. Thank you so much for supporting my business, my methodology, being my friend, paying my bills. But I'm sure you're going through think about how long this fitness journey is going to take, or thinking about giving up, or kind of stressing out that it's not as fast as uh, uh, as you thought it was going to be. But look at your coach. I'm your coach. I'm, for the most part, for most of you, I am probably in better shape than you, physically fit, active, and it was a long journey for me. So I grew up overweight. The reason I'm telling you this is so you can relate with me. Like, it hasn't been an easy journey for me. It's been just as challenging, if not more challenging. So if you hear about my challenges a little bit, it might help you develop a little bit more of a drive, more tolerance. Maybe have a little bit more patience, because we usually just see the end result. We always see the person who's shredded. We always see the person who's fit. We always see the person who's made a lot of money, who has a nice car, all that shit. And we look at him like, oh, it must be nice. Dude, that motherfucker went through the same struggles as you. So here's the thing. I grew up chunky, all right? I wasn't a skinny kid. I grew up in Pakistan. I was born in 1985, right? So we didn't have that whole don't fat shame and all that shit. We shamed the fuck out of our fat people. So I grew up overweight. I remember even before I was 10 years old, I was being called fat, chunky, cousins, school, was bullied and schooled. And I mean, I'm not saying anything negative. It's just the time and what my parents were like, and just what everybody is like, what you see around is what you do. Like, basically what everybody else is doing, you end up doing it when it comes to raising your kids, blah blah blah, the culture, the mindset you have. So my parents were pretty harsh, weren't encouraging when it came to changing my physique or my health. Didn't really give me any advice on how to eat, how to exercise, blah blah blah, but just told me that I was a fat shit, and that's that. I need to eat less. But then again, my parents had bigger things to worry about putting food on our plate, putting food, sending us to school. So my parents were fucking awesome. They did everything by the books. I mean, they made sure I had food, shelter, pretty much everything I wanted. I traveled. They gave me guidance. They paid for my education, all that stuff. I had clothes, blah blah blah. So just stop saying blah blah blah, but like clothes and shit. So I had everything to survive. I had good teachings from my mom, my dad, but when it came to health and fitness, it was pretty harsh growing up as the one fat kid in the family, or one of the few. And school, I was one of the few fat kids, so I was bullied over there too. So in my early mid-teens, again, struggling with weight issues, I would here and there drop a few pounds by doing some cardio and eating less food, but nothing really worked. Now, here's the thing. I was born with a deformed knee. So imagine if This is your leg. This is your fucking shin. This is your knee. So when I would flex, right? When I would straighten out my leg all the way. So this is my knee, right? My kneecap on my right leg would pop out of place. So it's called a mobile patella. I was born like this. It was for as long as I can remember, my knee was like that. So I wouldn't be able to fully extend my leg when I was walking or running, is because if I do, it would pop out of place and it would be very painful. So running, jumping, and all that, I wasn't able to do that too much because I have to be very safe and careful when I'm running. I can't. I mean, imagine running without fully extending your leg or worrying about it. If I'm walking down the stairs, it would happen once in a while. So I wasn't able to be too very active because of that. Sports were challenging, and obviously my diet was a little sloppy. I liked food a little bit more than other kids, and genetics, all that shit play a role. So I was a chunky kid. By about when I was 18 years old, right, I was kind of sick and tired of just being fat, and I was graduating high school, getting ready to like apply. I grew up in Pakistan, like I said, and I was studying there. I was 18 years old, spent my entire life there, and I wanted to see other parts of the world. And the only way I realized I could get out of the country was to apply for college. And the place that I could actually afford was the US. Well, the way I could afford it was I was hoping that I would get a full ride scholarship somehow and then work a little bit. My dad would help me out with like the living expenses. So I took my SATs, SAT2s, and I realized like I thought about like I didn't know I was gonna go, but like I was planning on going. So I'm like, if I do go, like might as well like be in a little bit better shape. Going to the US, people are gonna be in better shape. Blah blah blah. I'm going to college, meet some girls. Didn't really have a girlfriend. Well, not really. Wasn't even able to talk to girls in high school. So that was that's a whole different conversation, or it could be a short conversation. I didn't know how to talk to girls. I was a loser, didn't really have any friends, and I was the fat kid in school. And my parents weren't that well off, so that the high school can get pretty cliquey too. So the rich kids hung out with the rich kids, the cool kids hung out with the cool kids. Most of the rich kids were the cool kids too, and the people who weren't rich and cool, I wasn't part of because I wasn't cool either. I was just weird. So anyways, so I'm going to the US. I'm planning on going to the US, hoping. So I'm like, hey, it's going to be a fresh start. At least I'm not going to be the fat kid. So I heard somebody just cut out their carbs and stop eating bread and rice, and they lost some weight. So I joined I had a membership to a local club because of my parents that had a gym. So I went over there, went to a local trainer, learned some basic exercise movements, and started just working out every single day as hard as I could. Just the regular bodybuilding routine, chest day, back day, leg day, and doing cardio every day. So just because I wasn't eating and I was lifting weights and doing cardio every day, I lost weight. I lost about 15, 20 pounds. Now I was swimming in my clothes. And actually, because I was lifting weights too, in about 6-7 months, I was able to do from 0 push-ups to like about 30 push-ups. From no pull-ups, I was able to do 15 pull-ups. And I mean, I wasn't fat anymore. And I had a little bit of muscle mass. Now, I was doing the same bullshit training routine that I advise people against. And yes, there's going to be some pushback based on how many people are watching this. But I don't believe that the chest day, back day, leg day shit works. It works. People have seen progress with it, but it's not the best. And if you really want to advance in it by tearing up your body, you have to take anabolic steroids. So just because Arnold and all these bodybuilders have been training like this doesn't mean it's the best approach, right? You can just work really, really hard and stay consistent and watch your diet and take a bunch of steroids, and any training program will work. All right? They're champions because of their work ethic and consistency, not because of the superiority of their program. So, but it still works. You still put on a little bit of muscle. You're even if you're in a calorie deficit, your body's not going to piss away all the muscle. And even if you're doing a little bit of cardio, it's not going to be that detrimental because you're still lifting some weights. So I had that going on for me. But one thing did happen is I lost a bunch of my hair during that time. It grew back a little bit, but I mean, shit, fucking, it was gonna go away anyways. So, but it was a sign of malnourishment. But I did get to a point where I felt good. I wasn't fat anymore. I was getting compliments. People, I did feel comfortable in my skin. But obviously, I wasn't feeling my best. Whenever I did crash my metabolism, so I had to constantly work out, eat less, and do cardio because if I actually stopped doing that for a couple of days, the body would blow back up again. So I took my SATs, SAT 2s, did a bunch of shit, fucking applied to 2 business schools in Pakistan, got in there, all that stuff, and I finally was able to get into a college in Indiana. Yes, I thought all of the US was the same. So I went, applied there, got in, got the scholarship, and I left when I was almost 20 years old. So then I got to college. I'm feeling looking kind of sort of decent. I can incline bench about 135 pounds for 4 or 5 reps. Flat bench 135 for 10 or 12, which is decent. I can do a few push-ups. I can run and stuff if I'm careful with my knee. So yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. So freshman year, during spring break, so second semester, 7 months into college, I'm about 21 and a half years old, or 20 and a half years old, so 20 years and a few months. I decided to play soccer because my cardio has gone up and this and that. So, and obviously I started drinking a little bit too, so that's upping the calories. I get a little chunky during my my freshman year. But during spring break, I'm playing soccer, and I turn really fast. My knee gets out of place, and this time it twists, so like gets out of place in such a bad position that it scraped a couple of pieces of cartilage off my patella or whatever, or where it was sitting. So this is the patella. It moved. It scraped 2 pieces of cartilage that kind of locked up. So I couldn't walk for about 6 weeks. I couldn't move my leg. I didn't have health insurance, so didn't get that taken care of. So during that time, by the end of the second semester of freshman year, I put on about 20 pounds of fat because I couldn't move around too much. I was just training a little bit of upper body and drinking a lot. So I got fat again. And I could barely walk, and my quad muscle disintegrated to the size of my forearm. So now I go home, I'm chunky again, and I start cutting out my calories again, crash my metabolism, but I go and swim every day, and I work out every day. So I lose all that fat again. Now I get back to college, and I'm 21 years old. So from 21 till 24, I kept that routine, kept working out every single day, kind of stayed in limbo around the same 145, 150 pounds, benching 155, 185 for a couple of reps, and then I graduated at 24. In my senior year of college, I meet my, now ex-wife, fall in love. That's my first girlfriend. I'm 24 years old now. 24 years old. We date for a year. I graduate. She moves in with me. End of the year, we get married. Same routine, working out, drinking, working out a lot, kind of stuck in limbo, still bum knee. Now, by the time I graduated college, I had done enough work on my legs, even with the pieces of cartilage floating around. Every once in a while, my leg would lock out. I would have to shimmy it, so the pieces of cartilage would get away from underneath my kneecap, so I could move it around. So that's what I was dealing with. And eventually I built enough strength to where I could do like squats with about 50, 60 pounds. I was able to run and all that stuff. The sharp needle-like pain in my knee was gone. But the patella is still mobile. The fucking knee is still fucked up from the inside. So I graduate when I'm 24. That year I turned 25. Marry my girlfriend. And the next year when I'm turning 26, we decide to move to San Diego. We moved to San Diego when I'm 26 years old. And that's when shit kind of hits the fan. My wife and I start having issues. She leaves me for the tattoo artist she fell in love with. Shit happens, power to her. Hopefully she's fine and has a blessed life. But I was fucking depressed. So I got kicked out of my place. I moved into a different place. I've literally spent the last 2 years after graduating not really using my degree, falling in love, bumming around, you know, planning my entire life around this person that I love, my first love, and and men make these mistakes all the time. I did it. I just sacrificed all my hopes and dreams just to be with this one person. I'm like, I came to this country to make a bunch of money, build muscle, be the most amazing fucking version of myself. But once I fell in love, I just gave up everything. I'm like, hey, as long as I'm with this person, everything's cool. So I moved to California, started waiting tables. But when this thing happens, when this person left me, I realized that I hadn't done anything for me over the last few years, and I've just been fucking basing my life towards revolving my life around this relationship, and not really doing anything for myself as a man. And I hadn't used my degree, and that depression was fucking crippling. And by that time, like, I grew up Muslim, so I had given up on my religion and kind of taken this atheist path as well. So I believe that there was no life after that. It doesn't matter what my beliefs are right now. That's going to be a whole different conversation again. But I was super depressed, very like suicidal. I had lost all hope in life. And I'm like, if I am going to end this right now, if I really am going to end my life right now, why not go with a bang? Why not do everything you really wanted to do? I mean, what did you really want to do? Well, first I started thinking about eat a bunch of crappy food, do a bunch of drugs, fuck a bunch of hoes, and this and that. What did I not do? And slowly, my only thing that I was going to regret, that I really wanted, was what would it be like to have a proper knee and actually get jacked as fuck. Because that's like, I know it's like it sounds vain, it sounds superficial, but the thing that you're drawn towards most in life is the thing that you get the least amount of. That's why people say this thing called like putting the pussy on the pedestal. You know, when you get the least amount of something, like, you think that's the most important thing, and you do everything you can to chase that one fucking goal that's not even good for you. But anyway, so I'm like, I wasn't thinking about much and how it would help me in life and this and that, but I'm like, hey, dude, just as a fat kid growing up who was into action movies, wrestling, Arnold, blah, blah, all that shit, you know, badassery. And growing up with a bum knee, not being able to get big legs so I could fucking actually get a big torso too, because I did not want to get a big torso with chicken legs. It's just, I was a bodybuilder true and true. So I decided that, hey, before I die, I'm going to give this knee one last shot. So what I didn't mention is, throughout this time when I was home and I injured my leg in my freshman year in college, when I went home, and even while I was in college, I looked up some doctors and paid up out of pocket for a visit and went quite a few times, and there was nobody who could figure out how to fix it. They didn't, even in Pakistan, I went through physical therapy because it's a little cheaper. They put me through different contraptions. They take MRIs and everything, but nobody actually gave a clear-cut answer to that. Hey, it's gonna get fixed. Nobody recommended surgery. Some people were saying that we need to strengthen the quad muscle. Some people said something else, but it just no clear-cut answer. I'm like, this time I'm actually gonna fucking find the doctor, and I'm gonna get this leg fixed. And if it gets fixed, then I'm at least gonna spend some time in my life trying to get jacked, and maybe that'll give me some hope. So I went to the first doctor. Don't have any. So while I'm going there, I'm sad. I'm depressed because I have nothing going on for me before. Like I'm just waiting tables, not using my degree. I've been out of college for a few years, so that degree is losing its value, and the love of my life left me. And there's nothing really exciting to that makes me want to get out of bed in the morning. So my entire focus right now is getting this knee fix, and that's the only hope in my life. So I go to the doctor. He checks me up, all that shit. And he said that after the surgery, you're going to have to stick to biking and swimming. I'm like, why? Shouldn't my knee get fixed after that? He's like, well, we're good, but we're not that good. Now, he did not know at that point. So I was around 26 and a half years old. I had joined a CrossFit gym for about a year and a half. So with that bum knee, with those pieces of cartilage floating around, I was able to squat about 205 pounds by putting my leg in the proper position, deep. I was able to run, jump, all that shit. I would have to shimmy my leg during the workout, get the pieces of cartilage out of the way so I could finish the workout. The coaches didn't even know. So by the time I went for that surgery, malnourished as I was, as shitty as my workouts were, I was overtraining, working out once or twice a day, doing CrossFit 7 days a week. I did have abs. I was I was fit. I wasn't healthy, but I was fit. So I'm looking at this asshole, and I'm like, bro, how the fuck am I going to be doing less shit after the surgery? Like, I'm already doing all this shit while my knee is fucked up. Shouldn't I feel better after the surgery? So I said, fuck this guy, and I went to a different doctor. And the way I found this doctor was that I knew that CrossFit fitters do get a lot of injuries, but those athletes, some of those top athletes do get paid. They go to the CrossFit Games, so they have to recover from those injuries quicker. So I went to CrossFit Invictus, which was the number one, or it probably is still the number one CrossFit gym in San Diego. Their team was winning competitions and stuff. Josh Bridges, he's one of the champions, or he's won at one time or something, or came in second. Anyways, he trained over there. So I went over there just to see if any of their coaches had gotten injured and gone to a surgeon. And when I got there, one of their members actually told me, front desk people, told me that one of their head coaches had gone to this orthopedic surgeon for surgery. So I went there, talked to him, went through my, talked about, showed him my knee and blah, blah, blah. Fuck saying blah, blah, blah. Anyways. And he had pictures of athletes that I didn't recognize because I don't play sports on the wall. Signed autograph pictures or saying that thanks for getting me back on the field. So I already had a good vibe. So he starts talking to me, looks at my knee, and he's like, this is what we need to do. He didn't even get an MRI because he looked at it and he figured it out. And he said, so this is your leg, right? So the knee is not sitting on properly. So what they were going to do, this is the knee. They were going to cut the shin open. It's called a Fulkerson osteotomy. Move the shin to the right, put a screw here and here, and stitch up the quad muscle. And he was going to go through a couple of places with an arthroscope, which is a camera, and find those pieces of cartilage that were floating around and pull it out. So basically 3 surgeries in one. So I'm like, all right, cool. And he's like, and I was like, will my knee be 100%? And he's like, I don't think, why not? or I don't know why not. Or wait, let's say that again. He said, I can't think of a reason why not. That's what white people say, right? That sounds proper. So this is the first time in my life, dude. Like, this was the most exciting thing I have, like, to this day, I have ever heard in my life. That somebody's telling me that my knee can get fixed. I've never, couldn't even imagine what life would be like to fully flex your leg and your knee doesn't pop out of place. So I was like, when's your next date for surgery? He's like, 3 weeks. I'm like, okay, cool, I'll take it. He's like, he looks at me like I was fucking crazy. He's like, don't you need to ask your parents, loved one, family, wife, or anything? I'm like, look, everybody I know is in Pakistan, and my wife just left me. It takes me, I have to give a 2-week notice to my job, and that's it. So that gives me 1 week to sort out my shit. And he's like, okay. So I scheduled the surgery, given my 2 weeks, Uber to the fucking hospital, Ubered back home, and spent 2 months by myself. My leg was cut open. There were 2 screws in there. And there were 3 holes on the side of my knee where he went in and took out pieces of cartilage and stitched up my quad muscle. That night when I came back, the morphine wore off and I was on oxycodone. And they told me to chew half a tablet every 2 to 4 hours. Or take. As soon as the morphine wore off, I woke up and it was the worst pain imaginable. I cannot even explain. I cannot imagine any pain that's worse than that. My body was literally shaking. So I turned around and I took half a pill. Then I waited 30 minutes. I'm like, this is too much. I took another half a pill. Then I waited another 30 minutes. And then I chewed up one. And then I chewed up another one. And I'm like, I'm 3 pills deep. And it's been hours. This pain is not going away. And I look at my watch. It had only been 15 minutes. If that pain was so bad that I was delusional and I had lost all track of time. I passed the fuck out. And I woke up like 16 hours later with the same pain again. And I realized I had to chew up a pill every an hour and a half, 2 hours, and keep it in my system. And that those pills were making me constipated, so I didn't go to the bathroom, which was fine. When I would have to go to the bathroom, I would have to take a couple of oxys because even if I would move an inch, that blood would rush down my leg and it would be the most obnoxious pain in the world. I wasn't even able to put my foot down on the floor for 2 months. Now, during those 2 months, I crutched to the CrossFit gym 7 days a week. I would take 1 day off. I did my laundry somehow. I would carry the fucking laundry bag in a plastic bag with one hand and hold the crutch and the crutch on the other one. Got my groceries. Not one fucking person, one of my friends, my ex-wife, anybody I knew came and saw me one time during those 2 months. And I crutched to the gym every day and I had bruises underneath my armpits. After those 2 months, I started walking. I put my put weight on my right leg for the first time, and my foot hurt, my knee hurt, my quad had completely disintegrated to my forearm again, and my knee was swollen like this much with scar tissue on it. It took me about 4 months to develop the leg muscles, the quad muscles, to be able to do this. Watch this. If I was sitting down, right? Just doing this, it took me 4 months to develop the muscles. And it was like painful to do that just because the quad muscles were so weak and there was a lot of scar tissue. Then it took me 2 years to get into a full squat. because it took me to that long. The first year I couldn't even do a quarter squat because my leg was so tight. I only had a motorcycle, so I had to. And check this out. 2 weeks after I started walking, I was working. Somebody got fired at my old job. They called me. I showed up and I started working. I was on painkillers. I would wrap up my knee 2 times, wear compression pants so it would be stiff enough so I could stumble. And I was waiting tables. I only had a motorcycle. I had to put my leg around that motorcycle, bend my leg, and would just kind of be attached to the side. And then I was able to ride it. At 30 fucking years old, I was able to do my a full proper squat with a proper knee. And by that time, both my knees from CrossFit and the surgery were blasted. It would take me about 15 minutes of warm up so I could do a squat with a barbell without, which was tolerable. So it would take me 15 minutes of warming up. So the first squat with the barbell was tolerable because my knees would hurt so much. From that up till 33, 34 was when my knee pain on both my knees from training properly, nutrition, and learning what I learned, what I know now, I was able to build my knees to 100%. Then at 35 and a half, I kept building some muscle, cut down my cardio, figured out that I need to add more red meat. So between 30 and about 35, I started completely cutting out cardio. So during those 2 months when I was recovering from my knee surgery, within the first 2 weeks, I was able to get abs. Just 2 weeks. From figuring out my diet and working out. And I was studying nutrition. And when I say nutrition, not a fucking book on nutrition, I was really going deep into this. Training methodology. And I started noticing how the calorie in, calorie out concept didn't work. Cardio wasn't unnecessary. So I started applying those rules all the way up till 35. So I knew till then that my that red meat was good. I didn't have to do cardio. And I was able to improve my leg training, so my knee pain went away. Now at 35 is where I developed this training methodology. And I've been training with this training methodology over the last 2 years, which got me bigger, stronger, faster than I've ever been in my life. That was after about 15, 16 years of trial and error. About being malnourished, going through a divorce, coming to the US. That had it all its own setbacks and issues that I had to deal with. Getting my citizenship, getting my knee surgery, injuring my knee in college, recovering from that, and then getting a knee surgery and starting from scratch all over again. I went up to a 205-pound squat, which is not much, but it's something. From learning what I did to myself when I injured myself. So I went from there, from injuring myself in college, squatting to 205, and then starting from scratch again after my knee surgery. That's how long I've been going through this shit. And now, finally, I'm pain-free, shredded, have a good idea of how to, a proper methodology on how to continue this fitness regimen for myself. So, clients, if you've been with me for a year and seen a bunch of results, been with me for 2 months and seen some progress, dude, that is fucking amazing. It took me 15 years just to figure this shit out. And even if I knew this back then, my knee was fucked up. I've had hiccups, big time hiccups, and I still didn't stop. So, the message, or what you can learn from this, is anybody that you see who's thriving has gone through shit. They've had all the hiccups that you had, all the ups and downs, all the things that make you stressed out, anxious, fucking pissed off, sad. I've had it all. I've gone through it all. It has not been an easy journey for me. And I'm sitting here in front of you, shredded, the best shape of my life, happier than I've ever been. And you're worried about putting 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, a year, 2 years in. You can't wait to go get that BBL. You can't wait to get on steroids. Dude, seriously, be patient. This is going to take time. Everybody has their hiccups. Everybody has their challenges. When you go through this approach, when you go towards this approach, just assume that you're not going to stop and things are going to get better. And one thing I will guarantee, that you will never, ever, ever have to play all that guesswork that I had to I had to do. You don't have to guess. You don't have to go round and round in circles like I was. I've literally solved this problem for you. Every single person, all genders, all ages, every fitness background, they're seeing the exact same results as me. They're building muscle, they're burning fat, and they're happier. And all their ailments, low thyroid, high cholesterol, fucking diabetes, high blood sugar, high blood pressure, everything is going away. Joint problems, psoriasis, everything. So, I will guarantee you that this is going to be the best thing you've ever tried, fitness wise. And trust me, no matter how hard it seems, I've gone through it all. I've persevered, and you will too. Grandmaster Gains out.